Wake up. Stop slurping your coffee.
That's how you're supposed to drink coffee.
Okay, let's just get started. Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody.
So today we're talking about what's holding you back. One of my favorite things to help people see what's holding them back.
All right, well, just to start, it's February 5th, 2021. It's Friday.
Is it the 5th?
Yeah. Dude, I'm hella tired. I don't know what happened.
I feel great today.
Dude, I feel like I'm about to fall asleep.
Fridays are my favorite days.
You're not the vibes I was trying to bring, dude.
Hey, Katie. I love recording podcasts on Fridays. I think Friday's going to be the new day.
Yeah.
I don't have client calls on Fridays. It's just like a free-flowing creation of a day, and I love it.
Oh, here we go.
Feels so good. So Jerome and I, honestly, actually, Katie, you're on right now, and I've been using your essential oils you bought me all week. We're live on Instagram. We're recording for YouTube and recording for the podcast. But yeah, Jerome and I were sitting here for a solid 10 minutes.
Trying to think. Well, first things first, everybody get your books. audibletrial.com/Cafecito, JJ Sarina. Get a free book. Listen to them.
So we have a link to get a free Audible credit if you don't have an account, right?
Yeah.
The link is in my Instagram bio, or if you're listening to the podcast or watching YouTube, the link is also in the bio. It's literally just a free Audible credit, so get yourself a free book. Have you read any? What are you reading right now?
Green Lights.
What is that?
With Matthew McConaughey. It's his autobiography. He calls it a memoir or some shit.
I finally finished The Alchemist this morning.
Did you like it?
I finished 3 books this week.
Dude.
It was amazing.
Did you put your books? So do people do this? Serena put her book. I know my brother Alexis put me onto this, but he put his books, or he listens to our podcast, and he tells me, yeah, when I listen to him, I put him at 1.5 or
2. I think he listens to it on 2 speed.
And then if you don't know what that means that there's a setting on, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening to a podcast, you can change the setting of the speed of the voice.
Yes.
So something that's an hour is 40 minutes.
It would be, yeah.
Or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I have to
so this week, what were the books that I finished? The One Thing, and I finished, oh my gosh.
My point, sorry to Serena's books, but my point was, if you do this, do people do this? Is this a thing?
People do it.
Because I know, and then you were like, I'm listening to a book, and I heard the guy, and he's like,
so yeah. So I finished The Alchemist, The One Thing, and one other book. I had an hour left in each of these books. And it's just driving me nuts because I always have so many books I'm listening to. So I finally put them on 2 speed, and then one of them I had to listen to on 1.5, and one of them was 1.3. But I finished all of the books.
That's crazy.
In half the time. So it took me an hour and a half, and I finished 3 books that I've been meaning to finish for months.
You think that's because it's you're listening, and then sometimes they talk so slow, or they're telling the story and they stop? And then they continue to go.
I don't know. Like I was telling you, what I do, or what I did, or what I like to do is I open up the Notes app on my phone.
Well, some people are driving while they listen to their books and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But if you're not, I open up the Notes app on my phone and I listen to the podcast and I take notes. I take a lot of notes. It helps me focus. And so I also feel like when it's faster, it begs for your attention. Yeah. If you think about something, so sometimes when you're going normal speed, you can start thinking about something else and you totally get lost. But if it's 2 speed and you're listening and you have to pay attention to get what they're saying.
That's why I'm going to try that.
You should.
I'm going to try it.
It's because you have squirrel brain.
Stop saying that.
It's obnoxious.
What is that?
Dude, Jerome and I yesterday I was telling Jerome this incredible parenting story one of my clients was telling me about, and I was like, yeah, there's this beautiful, huge transformational moment, and we're walking and we're talking, and he just looks up and goes, look, the house is for sale. The one next to it's for rent. Oh my gosh, the door is green. And I'm just looking at him dude, what? We were just deep in a conversation. I thought we were deep in a conversation, and his mind just goes, squirrel. So that's Jerome. But anyways, get your Audible book. I threw out some good ones. The Alchemist is amazing. And listen to them on 2 speed. Or 1.5, maybe 1.3.
1.3. I'm going to start 1.3.
I say 1.5.
Everybody give it a try and tell me what you think. I've never done this. I'm excited.
Anyways, but yeah, so back to the main topic. We always like to throw that out in the beginning, the Audible credit. But we we wanted to talk today about what's holding you back and like what does that even mean. But we were sitting here and we're like, what do we feel? I don't like to pre-plan our podcast. Just like we don't edit the podcast. It's
just I did the same thing. I pushed my laptop up.
It feels nice to lean on the table. It's really just whatever. I like to talk about anything that's relevant, that's currently going on in our lives, or, you know, a conversation we've had recently, something like that kind of just comes natural. Instead of like, I know some people who like pre-plan their podcast for like a month, 2 months, 3 months. God. You just have topics, but I'm like, man, in the moment, it doesn't feel passionate. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like you start to talk about it and you're like, yeah, this is cool. Okay.
Kind of mild.
Yeah, it's whatever. So I, of course, wanted to talk about something mindset related. And,
tell me, what is it?
And you said that
I found it.
Yeah, he found it. I had made a post around New Year's, and it said, "I know what's holding you back." Clickbait. But really, it was the title. I know what's holding you back, and
then you said, "No, I'm not a psychic."
I'm not a psychic.
Is this supposed to be
but
funny?
I could tell your future. I have my crystal ball on my wrist. But yeah, so what's holding you back? Of course, you would expect for me to say, hello, life and business coach, life mindset, is your mindset. It's your mindset that's holding you back. But I think a lot of people, I mean, especially when we're speaking of business, but this is for every area. I'm so curious, like what area do you feel stuck in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it your relationship? Is it in your business, your career? Is it as a parent? Like you feel stuck as a parent sometimes, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And I think taking it one step further, it's like, okay, cool, Sarina, Jerome, awesome. So my mindset's holding me back. That's what people are thinking right now.
Oh. I was like, what are you talking
You're like, what? So yeah, your mindset is holding you back. And it's kind of like interesting because I've talked to a couple people this week for business coaching and setting up calls with them. And they're kind of coming to me and it's like they've been focused on the strategy. And this might be you with like a fitness plan. You're focused on the plan. And then finally you're like, but why am I still stuck? You know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And so taking it one step further, it's your mindset. But like, what about your mindset? I think to make this really simple, I think one of the biggest things, and that I like to talk about a lot, is your limiting beliefs.
Which,
yeah, I love having these conversations with Jerome because that's the cool thing about, I feel like, relationships or friendships.
Yeah.
It's like you learn something and then you get to talk to someone. So I love having these conversations with you because you're genuinely like, okay, so what does that mean? Which is what everyone else is thinking.
Imagine if I was one of those people that just cut you off and was like,
you already know and you just start going in.
I was like, that's not real. That doesn't exist. But let me tell you what does.
It's like on Shark Tank. What's his name? The guy who doesn't like anything to do with mindset.
I wouldn't say he doesn't like anything. But
he cuts down every single offer that has to do with
like
mindset.
Bullshit.
Yeah, he's like, mindset bullshit. That's bullshit.
I think it's like Mark Cuban.
Yeah. Anyways, limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs are beliefs about yourself or other people or things that limit you, right? So if you don't want to use the word limit, like they constrain you, they hold you back in some way. And I was actually just talking to one, she's a client of mine right now, and she was saying like she feels held back in her business, but she never really thought, she's kind of piecing it together and starting to realize, I think it's like a lot of I make a lot of decisions that aren't to my highest interest. She's
what does that mean?
Like, so you make a decision, but for example, let's say, I guess an easy way to break that down is like, let's say you have a really big goal, but the decisions you're making, like they're not quite getting you to that goal. And it's because you're kind of holding back because you have a limiting belief that maybe you can't actually achieve that goal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so the thing about it is a lot of people think our limiting beliefs usually come from the fact that we haven't achieved something in the past or our results in the past.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say you've just had a string of shitty relationships. You now think, we're going to speak to women for a second. They're like, men are the worst. Like, oh my gosh, they're all the same and there's no one good out there. But I guess you could say vice versa. And they have a limiting belief based on their past results, their past relationships, that they can't actually find their like soulmate or like their dream partner. And that can translate to any area in your life. You know what I mean? So that's what a limiting belief is, and kind of just, I guess, like an example of it.
Okay. So then what would they do after?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you have to stop and ask yourself, like, what are my limiting beliefs? And usually, like, this is why I like to just talk to people. Like, I'll say, hey, can we just get on the phone really fast? Or I use WhatsApp with my clients so I can hear them because they'll voice message me. I need to hear your language. I want to hear the way you talk.
Yeah.
Because there's so much power in your language. And I can tell as you're talking, oh my gosh, like, I have one client, and he's a life coaching client, and he will always talk, and I'll be like, yeah, so your goal this week is to do X, Y, and Z, and he'll say like, yeah, I should be able to do that. And I'm like, you should? Like, either you're doing it or you're not doing it. So what is it? But his thing is he believes, like, I don't know, like, I might be able to do it.
Yeah.
So he says I should. So that's one way to tell. How do you talk? Do you speak confidently in your capabilities? Like, do you believe that you're capable?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have a limiting belief. And sometimes it's reality, but then just say it. No, I cannot do that this week. No, that is not happening this month. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So.
It reminds me of the 4 agreements. Being impeccable with your word.
So good. Yeah, being impeccable with your word. I also think that has to do with just like having integrity too. But like sometimes that's with yourself. Like if you say you're going to do something, do it. You know? And I think a lot of people struggle with that. Like they're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then the end of the week, none of that happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how often does that happen? So I think that's a really big one. I made a post not too long ago about limiting beliefs. And I was saying, you know, 3 common core limiting beliefs are that you should be aware of. So pay attention to this in your own verbiage is maybe like, I'm not enough. So literally thinking you're not good enough, smart enough, rich enough, attractive enough, whatever it is. That's like me overcoming my birth fears.
The limiting belief.
I have a limiting belief. I'm so afraid. It's just a perfect example.
She is terrified
to give birth again. I did not have a good experience the first time, so based on my past results,
see if it works, guys.
I have a limiting belief that I can't do it. And I hate when I say that and people are like, but you can do it. You got this. And I appreciate it. However, it doesn't matter because I think that I can't do it. And when I say I can't do it, I don't mean physically, like, yes, like the baby's gonna come out. It's gonna happen one way or another. Once it starts, you can't turn it back. But I have this fear that I'm going to get to that breaking point where in the moment, like when I'm in labor, that I'm going to think, no, I can't do this. And I think that's my biggest fear is I don't want to feel in the moment like I'm not capable. And
like
that just makes you fall apart.
I feel like everybody runs into that moment. Like your mind knows once to quit.
You do.
You're like, I can't do this.
Yeah, and I guess this translates to everything. We all get to that point in everything. But then it's the person who then is able to like bounce back. The person who's able to be like, it passes.
Yeah.
I always tell my clients like, we all have this line and it's okay to go below the line, but you need to know how to pull yourself back up. Below the line is like when you're just like, having your moment and you're like, screw all of this and I can't do it, and you're giving in and you're having a moment and you're being super negative, and it's totally fine because you're human and we don't need to be positive all the time. And you're being human. However, then are you like, oh, okay, I'm done, and you pull yourself back up above the line.
Yeah.
That's what matters. That's what makes you successful.
I was giving myself like 5 minutes to just sit in that. Like, oh, fuck. And then just stop.
Yeah, sometimes that's when you just need to call someone and be like, can you just listen to me? I just have to get this off my chest. Yeah. I'm just trying to dump it out. And if it's the right person, then they can hold space for that. Some people just make it worse, which is not the right person. But yeah, and so anyways, my birth is a perfect example. I have a limiting belief that I'm not strong enough. Like, I'm not mentally strong enough, which is wild given everything. I know it's going to be different, but it hasn't sunk in yet. The second one is scarcity. So there's not enough to go around. It's a huge limiting belief that they have this scarcity and lack mentality. I have a business coaching client who has like a 20-year successful brick and mortar in-person business. And now she's doing an online business that we've helped her like really get. And she's thriving. And yet
that's good.
She said the other day, she's doing amazing. It's crazy. And yet the other day she's like, but I realize I just have this belief, like, will it always be this good? Can it last? Like, she's like, she has this thing that like, it's only could be that good in person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you were thriving through a pandemic, okay? You started an online business during a pandemic. Like, what makes you think it's only going to get better. Like, the world's going to get better. We're all going to get better.
It's like you walk into the bread aisle and then you see, and there's like fucking over like 100
tons of
bread brands.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, how do they all make money?
How do they all do it?
Yeah, how do they all stay in business, dude?
Exactly. There's something for everyone. And this can be like, there's not like people who struggle with money mindset, like there's never enough money.
Yeah.
You know, people who struggle with love, there's just not enough love in my relationship, or I can't love someone enough, or, you know, all of these things. Yeah. People think I don't have enough support, so I can't go out and do X, Y, and Z things that they want to do. So that's a really big one. The next one is trust. So a really big limiting belief, the third like core limiting belief to be aware of is trust, which is like, I don't trust insert you, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, myself, my partner, my clients to keep showing up and give me a business. They're the core of your business, right? Yeah. And so people, they have that core limiting belief as well, is not trusting that. It's kind of like trusting, like just that kind of goes back to the other one, scarcity, lack. Yeah. So those are the three biggest core limiting beliefs that I think are just really, really important to be aware of. Okay. That's what's holding people back.
That's what's holding them all back.
That's it. Period. Boom. Mic drop. Conversation's over. I'm just kidding.
So with all that being said, like, what do you do then?
I think...
Teach me
your ways, sensei.
Show me.
I think what's really important, I think, is the first step. And I honestly feel like the first step is the hardest, is it's awareness. Are you aware of what the hell a limiting belief is? Are you aware of your mindset being an issue? You know what I mean? Like running the show, creating the results in your world. And if you are, as long as you're aware, boom, like you're fine. Like as long as you're aware of these things, then you can keep digging forward. And so from there, I would say, like, ask yourself, just as we're talking, oh, okay, what are my limiting beliefs? We all have them.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, you can't think of one?
I'm trying to think of them so I can give you examples.
I have some examples actually. So some examples could be like, I can't be my real self or I'll be judged. Oof. That's a limiting belief. If I ask for what I want, I might get rejected. Like, okay, back to business. Seriously, like you have a fear of rejection. How are you going to help anybody? You have to offer them your services.
That's easier said than done though.
No, it's not. If I pursue my dreams, I might fail.
Dude, that's really the big one. Biggest one.
Mm-hmm. I have a life coaching client right now who...
How many clients you got?
I'm telling you, it's the best just inspiration a lot of times, the best examples. She's a nurse, but she's actually wants to go back and go to med school so she can be a doctor. I don't know that, we won't get into like the gist of it, but she's struggling with, like, it's not very common to do that, and at her age and all these things. And, we're talking yesterday and she's kind of just backing out, and she's like, yeah, I don't think with my test scores, like, it's not going to work. And then we were talking more, and it really just came down to, she's like, no, I'm afraid. Like, what if I get in to the school I want to go to and like I fail, like I don't do as good as I want to do. Damn. And I'm like, well, you'll never freaking know if you don't do it. Dude. And right back to books, it's like my favorite book is The 5 Regrets of the Dying.
Isn't it just the easiest thing to not
do anything?
Yeah. Yeah. And just sit there in that comfort.
Yep. You're like, that's fine. I've been talking a lot this week about the job of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has a job, and that is to protect you and to preserve your body. So to protect you, it says, hey, let's say you're like, so she wants to go to med school. Yeah. Her subconscious mind is like, no, that's big, that's scary, don't do it, stay where you are, stay in your comfort zone. It's trying to protect you. Yeah. So its tools to protect you, throw your limiting beliefs out. Start reminding you of the past, that one time you failed the test, that one time this happened. It starts bringing up your memory. It's just like if you've been cheated on, as you go into your next relationship, your subconscious mind's on alert, looking for cheating. Look at his phone. You have to, his it's like when we started dating.
Check his Snapchat, his DMs. Who's sending him stuff?
Who is that? That's my sister. No, just kidding.
How many sisters do you have? 8.
Dude. And so just know, like, that's why your limiting beliefs are there, and they serve you well. They really do. They remind you, right? There's a lot of lessons to learn. Your subconscious mind stores those for you. It's a beautiful thing. But you also need to know how to control it, and you need to know how to identify, and you need to know, like, let's say obviously I'm a coach, so these are my examples, but it's like, let's say you're going to hire a coach for something and you're like, I don't have the money for that. Your mind starts telling you, it's like trying to protect you from investing in yourself and doing that thing that could possibly change your whole freaking life. Mm-hmm. And you have to know how much of that is valid and how much are you ready to make that next change. And in order to get out of your comfort zone, you got to jump, right? You got to do something different to get different results in your life.
Yeah.
You can't just keep doing what you've been doing. It's not going to work. So anyways, I have 2 more. So the other 2 big ones I have is, like, if I love someone, I will get hurt. So many people are just afraid to fall in love. And then they wonder why they can't find that person. But at the end of the day, they don't realize how they're kind of dodging it in a way.
People do that?
Yeah, because they're at the end of being vulnerable and opening yourself up to someone is one of the scariest things you ever fucking do in your life.
It's also one of the best.
Exactly. But a lot of people would rather stay in their comfort zone than risk getting hurt. It's the same thing as following your dreams, or like whatever that is, right? That's why we're together, because it's not worth it. To me, I'm like, you have one freaking life. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. It's like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
You know. And then the last one is, it's too late to pursue my dreams.
Oh.
Which kind of goes, which is super sad, right?
Yeah.
Kind of back to the same scenario with my client who's a nurse. I don't know how old she is. She's young, but to her, she's like, oh no, like, I should have did this right after I got my bachelor's degree when I was X amount of years old. And, you know, so she part of her feels like it's too late. It's not freaking too late.
Yeah,
you have the rest of your life. Like, what do you mean? Just go, like, let's do it.
Fuck them all.
Yeah, fuck them all. Fuck it. Yeah, so those are, I hope that's helpful to you guys as you're listening or watching. You know, it's really important. At the end of the day.
Just key triggers that pop up into your head that kind of just go like.
Yeah.
Your mind goes like, oh shit, no.
Yeah, they just try retreat, like, don't do it.
So what do people do, I guess, to combat that?
Yeah, that's actually the post that you were reading. I like to call it belief busting.
Yeah.
Which is, I learned that when I went to my NLP training. Mm-hmm. Belief busting. I want to say we've talked about that in the podcast before, but I'm not sure what episode it is. And basically, what I like to do.
Remember.
Yeah.
I don't think we did.
I do it a lot, once again, with my clients. But I do it a lot for myself, too, when I'm going to do something big and scary. Get outside of my comfort zone. So for belief busting, it's primarily 3 steps. It could be 4 steps. It just depends. But I mean, honestly, guys, people always think like it has to be this big life, like dramatic thing. No, like I always say, number 1 is to like identify your limiting beliefs. Like literally, what are they? If I said grab a pen and paper right now and write down every single like negative thought you have about yourself, your potential, your worthiness, your future, those are just going to be tons of limiting beliefs. And I have clients do this and they write out like a whole bunch, and then we go through every single one together. Man. And they don't know we're gonna do that, so it's kind of awkward when like I'm like, okay, like they're like, what?
They're gonna know now.
And now I read them to them, because it's hard to say like something about yourself, send it off, and then for someone to read it back to you.
Yeah.
It really makes you look at yourself.
I mean, that's already a lot. I wouldn't even want to do that.
Step number 1.
Yeah, to talk to somebody else like that.
Yeah,
it's hard, dude.
And so, so much power in it, though. The second thing, that once you have identified them, I think it's really important to question them. So I always say it's like investigation. So now you stop and investigate. So we're going to read every single one, and it's either true or it's not true, right? So is this true or is this not true all the time, 100% of the time? Because if you make a statement and it's not 100% true all the time, then it's not a fact, right?
Yeah.
What's a fact and then what's opinion? So that's an opinion. And if it's an opinion, then we can debunk this and move the fuck on. So you kind of go through each one and you investigate them and ask yourself, is this true all the time? It never is. It never is. If it is, maybe, but I've never had that happen. And then so you do that for every single one. You prove yourself wrong on all of them. Like if, you're like, well, I I don't know. There should be so many. And then the third step that you would do is rewrite it. So you're going to take every single one, look at your facts on why it's not technically true all the time, even though you may feel like that sometimes. It's not a fact, so it is not who you are.
Yeah.
And even if it is, you get to choose anytime you want to change and become whoever you want to be. That's the beautiful thing about life. And so step number 3 is rewriting them. Now you've identified your beliefs, you've identified, how they affect you, you've investigated them. Now you can work on letting them go and rewriting them as empowering beliefs.
Yeah.
And I guess like a final thing I would say is like when you're setting new goals, people are like, oh cool, I'm gonna like write down my goals. Okay, that's awesome. But that doesn't really do anything for you. Now you need to then identify like what are the limiting beliefs you have that are going to prevent you from achieving those goals.
I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but I just thought of this and I was like, what if there's like someone who's like 60 and they're like, I want to play in the NFL?
Okay.
No, but I'm saying like someone would be
maybe they want to play football.
Yeah.
So they can go play football.
No, but they're like in the NFL.
Is that even like literally possible?
That's what I'm saying though.
Well,
like,
you're not. You have to be realistic. Meaning, is it literally possible? No, you do have to. What the heck? I'm not gonna tell a client like she comes to me. She's like, Sarina, I want to start a business, but I want to make $1 million this year. I'm gonna be like, well, that's not gonna happen.
Well, they could.
No, it's not. I mean, I meant to say like this week, like something super unrealistic.
I was like 1 year.
Yeah,
that's sorry. Solid amount of time.
No, I meant like something really short.
Like in
so
3
something,
days then.
Yeah, something that's not gonna. It's like when I was a fitness coach and people come to me like, I need to lose 15 pounds by my birthday. I'm like, when's your birthday? It's on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You're fucked. Like,
so that's what I mean. So it's like
you have to be. Yeah, there's no bullshit. You have to say like that's okay. Let's look at that, map it out. Oh, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
Cool. I was making.
Sorry.
I was making the joke like I'm in the dream making business.
Yeah.
But your dreams have to like literally be like tangible. Like, can that really happen?
But what about then there's like the other side to that would be like, so someone does have a dream, but people tell them it's unrealistic. I don't want to get those lines confused. So there's like the 80-year-old that wants to play in the NFL, which is like impossible because he'd die.
Yeah.
And then there's like the 18-year-old that wants to be a millionaire business owner by the time they're 30, but then people say you can't do it.
That's their limiting beliefs projecting onto you.
But that's a different,
totally different.
Unrealistic. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. And I think that's such a fine line too. And I think like, that's, I guess, like as a coach is my job to be able to tell my clients, like, I always ask you, where are you right now? Where do you want to be? Okay, cool. Let me make sure I can get you from point A to point B. Yeah. And if I cannot, then I'm going to tell you, okay, I don't see you being able to accomplish this, but let's focus on getting this far based on this data. And like, you got to go through the whole thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Does that make sense? That's a really good question.
Whoops. Oh, that scared me.
Writing it in an empowering way, and then making it something that empowers you, making your limiting beliefs empowering beliefs that you need in order to achieve your goals. So if you asked me the number of, like, looking at all of my clients, the number one thing holding them back from achieving their goals, no matter what it is, it's themselves.
Starts with you.
It's their mindset. It's their limiting beliefs. Now, don't get me wrong. You need a plan. You need a strategy.
Yeah.
You can't lose weight without the right weight loss plan. You can't get your business up and thriving without having the systems and things in place that actually make it easy. But do you even believe it could be easy? You know what I mean? Like, do you even believe you can lose weight? Do you even believe you can meet your dream partner? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, cool, get the plan, but without the mindset piece.
What's the difference between a person that does think like that and a person that doesn't, though?
What do you mean?
Like, how come you could be someone like that versus someone like automatically goes into like the no, I can't. Like you look at something and then you're like, I can do this. Mm-hmm. But you do have your own problems. But anyways, like you look at an issue and you're like, oh, I could do this. I can solve this. Versus someone that would look at it and say, no, like I don't want to do this.
They don't want to, or they can't.
They say they can't, but that they can.
Do you mean like what's the difference? As in, like, why do some people think this way and some people think the other way?
Yeah.
That has to go probably back to your childhood, like childhood wounds. Like, were your parents telling you were capable? Like, what are the results, your results in the past? Do your results in the past show that you're able to meet challenges head on and accomplish them and achieve them and conquer them, right?
Yeah.
So once you start, it's kind of like your brain is a muscle. Once you start flexing it and you start training it and you start going after things, it's like when I first started trying to lose weight, I achieved my weight loss goal. I felt phenomenal. I was like, wow, I'm like pretty capable. Like I got this. And then what I do, I stepped on stage and did a bodybuilding competition. I didn't even fucking win that competition. I was just like, oh my gosh, I did it. I could do this. And then after that, I was like, I'm going to start a business. Started a business, hit a certain goal. And I was like, wow, I hit that goal. Let's next goal, like to help more people. And so your confidence starts to build. So now when things come, I'll look at them and I can say like, oh yeah, I could do that. If she could do it, so can I.
Yeah.
Versus other people who maybe, depending on their environment, people around them, projecting their limiting beliefs. Maybe your parents are the type of people who always try to keep you in your comfort zone. God bless them.
Yeah.
And so, but they tell you like, don't do big scary things. Just make sure you stay at your job and do your thing, or don't go after that girl, or, don't try to lose weight. It's genetics. We're all like this. I have that a lot. That's happened a lot to my clients, where their family just tells them they're supposed to be overweight. It's just the way they are, which is so sad.
No comment on that.
Because it's not real. So I think it just depends on your upbringing and your results in the past would be the answer. Isn't that, it's deep, right?
I was just wondering.
But even those people, so even those people, it's I can't think of it on the top of my tongue, but it's like this feedback loop that you want to get in, like a positive reinforcement feedback loop, we'll call it, where it's like you just need to get them a quick little win. Like if you're going to start losing weight, get them to lose the first pound. It'll motivate them. When they see results, then they're motivated, then they keep going, taking action, so they see results, motivate, and it just keeps going in a circle.
Yeah.
It's when they start, there's no results, and they're like, this isn't working, and they give up.
Yeah.
You got to get them in that loop. That's your job as a coach, to get your clients motivated, get them results, and get them to keep on going. You just want them going in a circle, That's the hamster wheel you want to be on. But yeah, anyways, I think that's the episode for today. I have an appointment with my tax lady in 5 minutes.
Oh, dude, I feel like I just listened the whole podcast. I barely spoke.
It's kind of like, so I feel like sometimes you kind of like interview me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poke
my brain a little bit. I like it though, because you provide the perspective of someone who may not know, or they have the same questions. And so you're able to ask me questions, like live time, like you just asked a couple of questions, like, well, how come some people could do that and some people can't? And I think people can tell us, but I think that's refreshing. If you knew everything that I know, like this podcast, I mean, it might be nice,
I'd be spitting as well. I didn't have anything to say.
But yeah, but at the same time, I think it's valued in the way that you get to ask questions, because I don't think about those questions anymore.
Oh, really?
So you kind of keep that beginner's mind perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really essential.
I always keep that perspective, honey.
I love it. It's important. All right, you guys. Well, we will catch you in the next episode. Next Friday seems to be the theme. Let us know anything that you would like us to hear about. So things that we talk about would be mindset, relationships, parenting, a lot of conscious like communication, and how that revolves around like business or us working together. Like I said, parenting, relationships, life. Current events.
What's a book that you recommend for limiting beliefs?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Doesn't have to be those, but
I'm thinking.
Oh my God, someone's like right.
I think a good book for limiting beliefs, I think I would just recommend everyone read the book, It Didn't Start With You, How Inherited Family Trauma Shapes Who You Are and like affects who you are today, by Mark Woolen. It just goes into your like childhood wounds. But that's where your limiting beliefs oftentimes come from. That's a really good one.
There you have it.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else on the top of my head.
Nothing else?
Yeah.
This
one's really good.
Earlier, the top regrets of dying.
Oh, the 5 regrets of the dying. That'll just make you want to live your life and go do everything that you want to do. This actually would be a really good one. So this book is You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. And she's a life coach, actually.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
You said you read that book years ago.
This was my first self-help book. Yeah. And she'll definitely help you identify some of your limiting beliefs and get over yourself. So yeah, those would be my recommendations.
Go-tos?
Yep, go-tos. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. See you next Friday for Cafecito con JJ and Sarina.